The Detroit Pistons moved to 8-2 after a win over the Philadelphia 76ers as Cade Cunningham continues to show why he has been the clutch player of the year so far and why he shows up when the Pistons need him most every single game.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Khahil. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free to web on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And I got to let you guys know, you guys have helped make the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network in America. I appreciate all of your guys' support across the entire network. You guys are the best. I'm really appreciative of all the work that everyone, all my counterparts have done, everything we've done, and all the support you guys have given us. So that's a great achievement, and it all goes to you guys. So appreciate all of you guys. But today, we're going to be talking about Jalen Duren. He's taking the leap, man. Like, this is, we got to wait for more sample size to, say it definitively, I guess. But this is what we're watching happen game in and game out. This is some special stuff. And then later on, I want to talk about, we saw Ausar and Ron start this game because Stu was out and Tobias was out. I want to talk about how those minutes looked and whether that's something the Pistons should feel comfortable about going to moving forward or more often. But it's clear where we got to start. Cade Cunningham shows up when it matters most and gets to the Detroit Pistons a win. The Pistons are now 8-2. They are furthering themselves as the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. They win this game without Jaden Ivey, without Tobias Harris, without Isaiah Stewart, without Marcus Sasser, with Duncan Robinson fouling out early. They were down so many players and were still able to beat a team in the Philadelphia 76ers, and I understand that Joel Embiid didn't play, but that's still a very good team over there, and the Pistons also were very shorthanded. This was a tough win, a much-needed win to continue to boost the confidence of this team, and they went out there and got it done. I think the best thing about how they got it done is the fact that Cade had to do it for them. Cade, in this game, was not playing well at all to start this game. First half, he was 1 of 7. Was not, or 1 of 9 actually. I said start off 1 of 7 in the post game recap, but he actually started off 1 of 9. Was not playing well at all. Couldn't make any threes. Couldn't make any layups. Was blowing bunnies at the rim. Had 3 turnovers. Was not playing very well at all in the first half. And then in the second half, as he's done all season long so far, he turns up in the second half and gets it done when it matters most. 24 points on 8 of 11. From the field, 7 of 9 from the free throw line, got to the free throw line 9 times, hit a clutch 3, a behind-the-back step-back 3, which was super nice to see, 80 true shooting, and finishes the game. Again, this is after he started off struggling badly. Finishes this game with 26 points, 11 assists, and 4 rebounds. I mean, this has been all year with Cade. This has been all year he's been doing this. All year. In the second half, so far for this season, he's averaging 18 points a game on 54% shooting. He's getting to the free throw line over 5 times a game in just the second half. He's shooting 38% from deep, and he has a 64 true shooting just in the second half. You go in the fourth quarter where he scored 7 points tonight. He is averaging 11 in the fourth, shooting 53% in the fourth quarter, shooting 45% from 3 in the fourth. 65 true shooting in the fourth quarter on the season. He continues to show up and show out for the Detroit Pistons when they need him most. And on back-to-back-to-back plays in this game tonight, the Sixers were flat out trying to double-team Cade, not waiting for a screen. They weren't trapping him off a ball screen. They were flat out sending out double teams. And on one play, he avoids the double team by going to the ball hand, which it was in his left hand. Double was coming from the right side. He went to his strong hand, beat Kelly Oubre to his left, got all the way to the basket, and absolutely posterized Andre Drummond at the rim, former Piston, who actually had a good game tonight against the Pistons. Cade Cunningham gets to the paint and maybe has the best poster of his career and one with about a minute and a half left to go in this game. A clutch bucket, an absolutely clutch needed bucket to put the Pistons back up by 5. The Sixers come back down. They cut it down to 2 points. And what does Cade do? He comes back down the floor. They try to double him from the right side. He goes to his left hand, drives strong, hits a spin move in the middle of the paint, and hits a fall away, spinning mid-range jumper to put the Pistons back up by 3 at that moment with around 16 seconds left in the game. And that ended up being it for the 76ers. The game was over. And it was due to Cade Cunningham showing up when they needed him most. This was a good battle between Tyrese Maxey and Cade Cunningham throughout this game. And Tyrese Maxey balled out. He did. He absolutely balled out in this game. But when it got super close, when it got late in this game, when you need your best players to be superheroes, the Detroit Pistons player, Cade Cunningham, was a superhero and got the Pistons yet another clutch time win. And they now move to 8-2 on the season. I really am liking how Cade is being more aggressive as a scorer and trying, like, throughout the game, you're seeing him, like, problem solve in real time. Like, earlier in the game when they were doubling him, he was turning the ball over. He wasn't making the right reads. He was rushing things. But as the game went on, especially as they started, like, just flat out double teaming him, you started to see him read it a little better. You started to see him try to move and get downhill, be more aggressive before the double could actually get there, so he's dealing with an advantage. I think Cade is just playing absolutely exceptional, man. Now, we would love if he could just have a full game. If we could see what he does in the second half, in the first half, and the second half, then we'd really be cooking with grease. We looking at 30 points, averaging 30 points, 9, 10 assists. Like, we'd be looking at some crazy stuff. But that's what the best players do. Despite struggling early on, maybe not having the best game, you see that your team needs it, and you see it's getting close, you see it's clutch time, you come up and you show out, and that's what Cade Cunningham has done over and over and over and over and over again for the Detroit Pistons this year. Before we move on, because Cade is obviously the biggest takeaway, I want to spend the second segment just talking about Jalen Duren. So before we get to that, I do want to shout out some other players that came through massively for the Detroit Pistons while they were shorthanded. Caris LeVert had 14 points in this game. He hit multiple threes in the first half when it felt like the Sixers were trying to run away. He hit multiple pull-up threes, hit a nice catch-and-shoot 3 off a short roll pass from Jalen Duren to the left wing. He played really well, and the defense, I thought, from Caris LeVert was just as good. He had a key block on I believe, Watford in the paint. He was playing some really good defense, was active on not so much Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey mostly had his way, but Quinn Grimes really locked him down. Even McCain came into the game and really couldn't get going. A lot of the Pistons' point of attack defenders made it tough on them, and Caris LeVert was one of them. Had a few knockaways as well. He played really well on both ends of the floor. Duncan Robinson, he fouled out, but he had 17 points, uber aggressive. Was uber aggressive as a three-point shooter in this game. That's what you need from him. He got 9 threes up in this game, had a lot of movement threes in this game, took a lot of contested threes. But when you are that good of a shooter, the Pistons need you to take those type of threes. Even with a late contest, that needs to be going up. And it was going up in this game. He was hitting it. He was moving in transition. He was moving in the half court. He was playing extremely well. That's what the Pistons need. They need him to get a high volume of threes up because he is going to be their volume three-point shooter. Like that's who's going to take those threes. They don't have other guys that are going to get that many threes up, and they do need it. And, again, I know he fouled out, but he was incredible, I thought, offensively in a short amount of time that he was able to play. Played extremely well. And then I really do want to shout out Javonte Green, who before the season, in the preseason, and early, like maybe the first, second game of the regular season, I was on here trolling about Javonte Green minutes. I'll admit it. But even he has some plays where you're like, man, what are you doing? But look, he goes out there and gives it 100% every single time he's on the floor. He goes out there and gives it his all on the defensive end of the floor. He's giving up his body at nonstop, getting physical with guys. And even on the final play of the game with Tyrese Maxey, I know he ended up somehow spinning out between two guys to get a clean look from three. But Javonte Green guarded 3 players on that final possession. Got switched out 3 times, forced a pickup twice, forced a loose ball on Tyrese Maxey the 3rd time, and then, obviously, like I said, Tyrese Maxey was able to spin around off of that somehow. It was a crazy play from Maxey. But Javonte Green is giving a lot of energy and really good defensive minutes for the Detroit Pistons. He deserves credit. All these guys deserve credit. Obviously, we'll talk about the main guys, but those guys came in and pitched in, and you need those type of minutes from a Caris LeVert, from a Duncan Robinson, even from a Javonte Green for the Pistons to get to where they're at right now at 8-2. So congratulations to all of them. Clap it up for them. But Cade Cunningham, story of the game. He is playing like a superstar when it matters most. He is coming through for the Pistons over and over and over and over again in the fourth quarter. He's going to win Clutch Player of the Year if he keeps playing like this. He is coming through big time for the Detroit Pistons. Let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. How do you guys feel about how Cade Cunningham has played, and how do you feel about how he's played in this fourth quarter? And what do you guys feel about that poster dunk on Andre Drummond, man? That was crazy, man. That was crazy. But coming up, Jalen Duren, we're watching him take a leap right in front of us. He's been exceptional for 6 straight games now. We'll break down how he's looked coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, and channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move with Robinhood. Now I gotta tell you guys about another one of our sponsors, one of my favorites, Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You guys know that I'm a procrastinator. I wait till the last second with just about everything, and it saves me when it comes to buying tickets with Game Time. I don't have to worry about getting terrible deals, getting terrible seats. Game Time has last-minute deals all the way up to the start of the event, sometimes even after the event. And one of the things I love about Game Time as well is that you can see the view from your seat right within the app, so you're not surprised when you get to the game about how good your seat is. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDINNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I want to spend this entire segment just talking about Jalen Duren, who, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, I have been high on his offensive game since he was a rookie. I have said that he is a unique, special talent on the offensive end of the floor. And he is. I've spoken about what he's able to do off the dribble, some of the things he flashed last year when they were running some of these inverted pick and rolls for him. I've talked about how good of a passer he is from the DHO area, from the high post area, how good of a passer he is out of short roll situations, how good of a lob threat he is for Cade Cunningham, how good his touch is around the paint, how he dunks almost everything around the basket. We've talked about that, how agile he is. We saw those flashes, and we talked about that to start his NBA career, the first few years of his career, especially last year. We saw flashes of it. But before we even get to any of that, this man, Jalen Duren, in this game, had 2 steals and 2 blocks, 4 stocks in this game. He is now averaging, on the season, 1.3 blocks a game, nearly a steal a game. The team is vastly better with him on the floor defensively this year. And there was a point in this game that I absolutely loved from Jalen Duren. It involved Ausar Thompson as well. But if you weren't watching, Ausar Thompson and Jalen Duren got really into it in the third quarter. Tyrese Maxey, I believe, beat Cade Cunningham off the dribble. Jalen Duren rotated at the rim, and then Tyrese Maxey dropped the ball off for Andre Drummond, and he got a layup at the rim. Pistons call timeout. Ausar comes up to Duren and is yelling at him about something. So I don't know what what he was yelling at Duren about. My initial reaction was Ausar is the best defender on the team. If he's screaming about something defensively, he must be right about whatever the coverage was. But from just watching, again, I don't know what maybe they had a different type of coverage. Maybe they were wanting to do something different. I don't know. But from just watching the game, from my point of view, it looked like Ausar should have crashed down from the wing and tried to take away the cut. Now, it could have been that Ausar was trying to say he has a guy on the wing. He can't crash down on Drummond on the baseline because he's guarding a shooter at the wing. Don't leave. Maybe that's what he was saying. But from my vantage point, it looks like Ausar should have rotated down. But either way, the point is Ausar yelled at Duren after it and kind of like was animated with his hands. And Duren responded with getting extremely animated, screaming back at Ausar, and they were both getting into it about this defensive play. And obviously in the timeout they showed it, they dapped up, they were fine, they were cool afterward. Like, that kind of stuff happens. I was so, like, I don't know, I found it so nice to see them arguing about a defensive play and really getting animated and into it over defensive play. Like, it shows that they really care about defense. It shows that they really are locked in and bought in defensively to where when there's a simple miscommunication or a mess up, that they are so mad that they're not fighting each other, but like they get animated by it and they want to talk it out, figure out what just happened. We got to be better. And like I said, they dapped each other up afterwards and they ended up winning the game. Ausar had a good game. Duren had a good game. So like, that's part of it. But just simply seeing Duren be active defensively, he had a really good rim protection rep at the rim over on, it was in the first half on the left side of the rim. Tyrese Maxey thought he had an easy layup at the rim. He went the floater up, and Duren really just sent it damn near out of bounds, and then chased it down, was able to get it before it went out of bounds, and then threw it back into the play for the Pistons to get a transition look. Just ultimate hustle, multiple efforts from Jalen Duren. And like I said, we'll get to his offense, but the fact that we are seeing him give this type of consistent, nonstop effort defensively. Again, is it perfect? No. Is he JJJ all of a sudden? No one's claiming that. But he is giving consistent effort night in and night out on the defensive end of the floor. How active he is around the rim as a protector, he has been, like, this is by far the best he has ever been as a rim protector. By far, ever, in his career. He's going after shots, he's timing shots, he's altering shots, he's locked in. This was the biggest concern about Jalen Duren his entire career, was the defensive end of the floor. If you are going to be worth this money, you have to be able to be like the anchor of the defense. You don't have to be the best player on the defense, but at the center position, you cannot be the liability on the floor, on the defensive end of the floor, and want a long-term extension. That was the biggest concern with Duren. And so far this year, he is giving max effort at all times at the defensive end of the floor. And there hasn't been one other time in his career that I can remember Jalen Duren getting upset and agitated and animated over the defensive play. Maybe an offensive play. I have never seen him get that angry and that upset and that maybe angry and upset's the wrong word, but just animated and care that much defensively. It shows how much he's grown on that end of the floor and how much he's really bought in on, I have to be a good defender. So he deserves the absolute utmost credit for what he's doing on the defensive end of the floor for the Pistons throughout this season, what he's done in this game specifically defensively. They needed everything he brought on the defensive end of the floor. He was tremendous. And obviously offensively, man. I mean, 21-16 again in this game. That's incredibly efficient. Gets to the free throw line 7 times, makes 5 of his free throws. That's actually down from his season, but last year you would have taken that. So 5 of 7 for the free throw line. I mean, it is what it is. You'll take that. I would take it. 8 of 11 on twos, obviously, just incredibly efficient as usual. You saw him absolutely cook Andre Drummond multiple times from the high post area. First 2 plays, he's able to just give him a simple in and out and then finish with his right hand at the rim, gets all the way to the paint, so showcases some great touch. Then in the second half, I thought he had a great counter to it. He went ISO again against Andre Drummond at the top of the key, and Drummond was kind of backing up, baiting him at the rim with his hands out. And we know from watching Drummond for years that he likes to play with his hands a little bit defensively. And what does Duren do? Gives him a low gather, rip through, and draws free throws, gets to the free throw line. He had Drummond in hell trying to figure out how to guard him in those one-on-one situations. I honestly feel like the Pistons should have went to it more in the second half, especially in that third quarter when they were starting to struggle to score. They should have went to him a little bit more in those situations, especially when you clear the floor out in the middle of the court. And if he has Drummond one-on-one, he's not agile enough to keep up with JD. And Drummond, actually, let me not say he's agile. He might not be that agile anymore. I know he's older. I haven't watched much of him this year, so I don't know how agile he still is. But I mean, Drummond was pretty agile himself. So, like, it's not like Drummond's like this unathletic dude and Duren's just easily moving around him. So, look, man, he's been absolutely exceptional. I don't know what else there is to say about him. Whether it's a lob threat, finishing on lobs, whether it's driving from the high post. We saw him multiple times tonight get a defensive rebound, push up the floor. My favorite play from him in transition wasn't the one when he drove all the way to the basket and tried to score himself. My favorite one was he got a defensive rebound in the second half, took it full court. He had Duncan Robinson to his left and Caris LeVert to his right. Duncan sprinted all the way to the left corner. Why do I keep almost saying Drummond? Duren drives to the basket, picks up his dribble before the charge gets there, and he swings a kick out pass to Duncan Robinson in the left corner. You know how how many 5 men are making live dribble reads in transition to shooters? That's special, dude. That, like, you don't see off a live dribble. You're making a off the dribble read to a kick out in transition with so much stuff happening around you. I mean, he's just, what he's doing this year is just like, he's having an exceptional year, man. He's putting it all together. He's absolutely putting it all together. And I guess you guys know I'm a sample size guy, so I'd like to wait till game 20 to really have final statements. I've said that multiple times now. But it's absolutely hard to ignore and not feel like we're watching Jalen Duren take a leap. I mean, what he's doing right now is just exceptional. On the season, he's averaging 19 a game. I didn't think he would ever be a 19.5 a game kind of guy. I said before the year, I thought Duren would just be one of those guys you want to be a 15-point, maybe a night guy, 12 rebounds, get a block, be active defensively, and just make reads out the short roll. That's what I thought that he would be. Every now and then he'd flash these, he'll take a DHO to the basket, that kind of thing. He is actively one of the Pistons' best self-creators on the team right now. Like, he when he gets isolations, it's one of the Pistons' most efficient offenses for this year. He is now, after game, what are we? It's 8-2, so after 10 games, he is now scoring 1.41 points per possession on drives. That's unreal. It's just unreal. Anytime he drives to the basket from the top of the key and they space the floor out, he's either drawing free throws or hitting 2 free throws, dunking on somebody, which, by the way, he dunked on someone again with his left hand tonight, or he's finishing through somebody. Like, he's been incredible. He's just been incredible. There's one play I want to point out, and then we'll move on. The Pistons went to run, because the Sixers were doubling Cade a ton. And the Pistons went to run an empty side pick and roll on the left side of the floor in the second half. I believe this was the fourth quarter, too. I think it was like 5 minutes left in the fourth. So they're bringing doubles to Cade, so they decide, okay, we're going to empty out this left side corner, and we're going to run this pick and roll. So if they want to double Cade, there's no one on this strong side to double or to come rotate on Jalen Duren. So it should make the pass easier. So they run this pick and roll, they double Cade, and he throws this pass to Jalen Duren, who has someone rotating from the weak side. They get there, they tag on him, but he gets the ball. Now the Sixers are all rotating off ball. They're all trying to bait. They're all trying to get ready to intercept any pass. They're ready to contest any three. Usually bigs may just hurry up and try and make a quick decision. Duren catches the ball, notices, okay, I got a guy on me that's not strong enough to hang with me. He fakes a pass, takes one dribble, puts his shoulder into the guy, and then just finishes with an and one at the rim. Like, that's not a highlight play. That's not going to be something that makes SportsCenter's top 10. But that just shows how calm, how confident, and how what's the best word here to say? He's seeing the game very, like, it's all coming slow to him right now. He's seeing the game very well. He's not panicking. He's not rushing. He's noticing, okay, it's the weak side. I know who's going to be rotating on me right here, and they're not going to be big enough. If I can catch this in the paint, if I just slow down, I can give him one chest bump, and I'll be able to finish right there at the rim. I don't have to force this kick out. I don't have to turn this ball over. Just let me calm it down. If they do this how I think they're going to do this, I should have a bucket here. And it makes the Pistons pick and roll with Cade and Duren so hard. It's not just the fact that he's an incredible lob finisher. It's not just the fact that Cade's so good in pick and roll. It's not just that. It's the fact that when Duren gets the ball in any other situation that's not a lob, he is becoming elite at making whatever decision it is, whether it's him scoring, him dunking on somebody, him slowing down, then posting up, giving a bump, and then finishing, or kicking out of the short roll. He is becoming elite that even if you take the lob away, him simply getting the ball in the short roll is like a death to the defense. He's been exceptional, man. Absolutely exceptional to start this year. And if he continues to play like this, man, if he keeps playing like this throughout the year and the Pistons keep winning like this, we're going to be hearing some all-star noise. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, man? Let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil how you guys feel about how Jalen Duren played in this game and how he's played all year. But coming up, I want to talk about the Ausar, Thompson, Holland minutes, which we saw in this game because Stu was out, and why I believe it wasn't as encouraging as you would have liked to see, and you may not see it as much moving forward. I'll tell you guys what I mean coming up. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So, head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And again, new customers will get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. All right, so I want to talk about Ausar and Holland minutes. In the limited minutes that they did play together, or not limited, they played 25 minutes together tonight. But they played limited minutes beforehand is what I was trying to say. There are some things to really like. There are some things that we saw and was like, okay, the defense is crazy. They're getting out in transition. They're running. Some really good stuff. In this game, we got to see them start together. And we got to see, for a large sample size, throughout within an individual game. They played 25 minutes together. The Pistons outscored Philly 54-50 in their minutes. And they had a net rating of plus 10.2. So you look at that and you're like, okay, looked really good. They must have really done well in their minutes. I mean, yes and no. My eye test doesn't exactly match that, and I'll tell you guys why. Let me make it clear. I don't think it was all bad at all, and obviously it was good enough to where they actually won the minutes, and the numbers say it was actually good. Obviously, the defense was insane. Like, they had a 100 defensive rating when they were on the floor. They were great defensively. They were getting in transition. They were scoring, especially early. I thought in the first quarter it looked exceptional. In the first quarter, they were just dominating defensively, getting on transition and fast breaks, and Ausar and Ron were just killing them. I think Ausar had like 8 in the first quarter. Like, they were playing really well to start the game. But as the game went on, and as they started to double Cade, I think they started to get exposed a little bit. There's 3 possessions I really want to point out and talk about here for why I was a little discouraged. The main play was a play from Ausar. It was around, I believe this was actually 50 seconds left in the game. So they're doubling Cade on the left wing. And Ausar is on the right wing. He is the one pass away. He's obviously the outlet here because they're taking away Duren here. They've rotated down to Duren. They're taking this away. The pass isn't there. So Cade kicks this out to Ausar. And Ausar has no one in front of him. And if you guys remember, I forget exactly what game it was. It was a home game. I believe it was like 4 games ago. I came on here and I talked about how Cade or Ausar has been running through the basketball. And what that means is when someone passes it to you beyond the three-point line, instead of catching, jabbing, catching, shooting, catching, and then deciding, you're running through the pass. As it's coming to you, you're running into the ball and immediately attacking the gap. And Ausar was doing that in, I forget exactly what game it was. And he's done that at other points throughout this year. And that's how a non-shooter really makes a team pay for rotating off him. Maybe you can't hit a 3, but if you give me this space, I can attack this gap. I'm too athletic for you to stop me without fouling. And he's done that at various points throughout this year. In this game in the fourth quarter, that happened. And Ausar caught the ball, dribbled to the paint, and got around the block area. Drummond did rotate, but he kind of he picked up his dribble, didn't go up, and then just kicked it out. Now the Pistons are working on a late shot clock situation. And the reason why the the Sixers were able to do that because they had Ausar and Ron on the floor, and Cade doesn't really want to kick out to Ausar or Ron from three. The Sixers aren't really worried about Ausar or Ron from three, so they're helping down the paint even when Ausar attacks the gap or Ron attacks the gap. And I thought Ausar just wasn't aggressive enough in those situations. He should be catching it immediately, going to the paint and going up, trying to draw a foul or finish above the defender. He's able to do that, and we've seen him do it multiple times this year. So him not being able to do that, I believe the Pistons ended up not scoring on that possession either. I think that was actually the possession that they ended up with 5 seconds. They had to take it out on the sideline, and then Duren got called for an offensive foul on the inbounds. I believe that was that possession. So that was unfortunate to see, and I was like, okay, if you had a shooter out there, I don't know if they're able to do that. Probably makes Cade's life a little easier right there. That was tough. The next play that comes to my head is Ron. There's multiple things with Ron. I'll sum it up into one. It's not just one possession, but I'll sum it up into one statement, really. The first thing with Ron is that he's traveling way too much on these on these kickouts, I should say. They kick the ball out to him, and he's traveling too much. He needs to like I said, run through the ball, be going as soon as he catches it, not catch it and then try to lift your foot up and then go. So he's traveling a little too much with that. That's hurting it. But the main thing with Ron is they ended up getting 7 threes up in this game. And I understand we're wanting to see Ron develop as a three-point shooter. I get it. But like I said with Stu, and even Greg Kelser brought this up on the broadcast, you want Ron and Stu, for that matter, when they're wide open from three, to take threes, yes. But you don't want them to become high-volume three-point shooters. You don't want them to be taking 6+ threes in a game, because what that then means, that doesn't mean you're finding the open guy and you're getting good shots. What that ends up meaning is that you're allowing the defense to dictate who's shooting the ball, and the defense is winning. The reason why Ron's getting 7 threes up, the reason why Stu's getting 8 threes up in that game a few games ago, is not because the Pistons are working around and finding an open shooter and getting good offense. It's because the defense is funneling you to the shooter they want you to pass it to, and they are winning every possession when you do that. The Pistons need Ausar and Ron to understand that when the kick out is coming to you, yes, you can hit a catch and shoot three, okay, go ahead. But you need to be attacking those gaps. You need to be running through. You need to be slashing into those gaps. And you need to be flashing to Cade when he has a double team on him, making yourself an easy outlet, and then attacking downhill in the short roll. I thought another thing I saw from Ron a bit tonight that I was disappointing in is that when he did flash and he would attack in the short roll with Ausar and Ron on the floor, Ron's just not making that pass. He's not making the right read. He had a few really tough finishes at the rim where I understand he's a good finisher. He plays physical, but someone's open. The right read is a skip to the corner, and he's not that type of player. So when he gets put in those situations, it's tough, especially when teams start to double off. So, again, it's not all bad. It wasn't all bad. And, again, like I said, the minutes or the numbers say that it actually was good for the Pistons tonight. But my eye test says and there's answers to it, though. My eye test tells me the Pistons just weren't getting those answers tonight. They're falling into letting Ron just shoot 3 after 3 after 3, and Ausar wasn't aggressive enough, especially late in this game, as a driver once they did kick it out to him, and Ron wasn't making the right decision. So when that stuff happens, that's when the duo of having 2 non-shooters, or really 3 non-shooters, I know Ron's getting them up, but defenses aren't respecting them. That's when the having 3 non-shooters on the floor really gets highlighted. That's when you start to see people say, man, you need some shooting out there. Is when you're not executing. When you have that many non-shooters on the floor, you have to execute all the details. Because you can't just catch and shoot threes. You have to be able to execute all the little details, be in the right spots at the right time, and make the right reads all the time. Like, that has to happen if you're going to play those guys. And when they don't, that's when it pops off the screen. You're like, not looking good. So that's where I came away with it at. If Stu's out longer, you're going to see more of it, and I think it will get better. But as of right now, I think it's definitely still a work in progress. Defensively, we know it's going to be great. In transition, we know it's going to be great. But in the half court, especially in the second half of games, especially when teams start to turn up the defense, especially when teams start to try to just double Cade, Ron and Ausar have to have better answers and be ready to have those answers when the Pistons call upon them. And I don't feel like they did tonight. I thought Cade ended up winning them the game because he's fantastic in the fourth, but I really felt like Ausar and Ron at times let them down with some of the decisions they were making late in this game when Cade was getting doubled. So That's my feeling on it. Let me know, comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. How you guys feel about that? But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. And again, thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 podcast network in America. I appreciate all of you guys. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody.